Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So I've been getting a lot of requests to, to speak a bit on the conjunction of Mars with other planets. Okay. And this is the video where I'll be speaking on, the conjunctions of Mars and how it behaves when it, when it meets other planets or when it joins other planets. Okay. So, Mars, as we all know, Mars represents your energy. It is passion, it represents your action, your courage. And in the planetary cabinet, it denotes the soldier, the warrior, the protector. Okay. It is also the karaka for siblings, younger siblings. Okay. It also denotes aggression. It denotes your neighbors. It denotes your ambitions, your impulses. It also denotes your willpower. Okay. And Mars is fire. Okay. Now, fire depends on how we use it, right? Fire can not only be destructive, it can also help in cooking food that is nourishing for us. So, Mars is all about using this energy. Okay. You can use it to hurt someone, or you can use it to, to plan our future so that we become successful in all our endeavors. Okay. So, Mars joining the other, the other planets, it can, it can mean a lot of things. Okay, so starting with the sun. So Mars and Sun joining, these are the two hottest planets and they are friends with each other. And together, they make a person very hot-tempered, stubborn, as well as very resistant. Okay, and although results depend on the location, so in a good house, they will give good results. For example, in the 10th house, they both become Digbala, and this will help the person achieve career success. Okay. In the 8th house, however, it is a difficult conjunction to have because then it makes you very prone to accidents. Okay, it can make you very prone to fire accidents as such, right? So similarly, in the 5th house, if both the planets are together, then from the fire of those of both planets, the the sex cells can die, and this causes problems with childbearing. Okay, similarly in the 8th house, it will give problems with having periods. Okay, so as I said, it all depends on which house they join in. In bad houses, they will give fevers, unexpected injuries, and diseases of the heart and eyes. Okay, now next conjunction is Mars with the moon. So this is known as Chandra Mangal. Okay, but the condition is Mars should not be retrograde. Okay. The other factor that we must pay attention to in this conjunction is that whenever Mars joins the moon, Mars becomes strong and moon becomes weak. And what does a weak moon imply? It means a lack of peace. Okay. Similarly, it also gives problems with short-sightedness. That means the person can make quick decisions without serious analysis. And it represents people who don't want to think about anything seriously. Okay. The moon is the fastest planet. And, Mars joining this moon makes the person act with a lot of haste. Okay. However, as I said, similar to the Mars-Sun conjunction, it depends on where these two planets are joining. If they are joining in an auspicious house without malefic aspects, then the person will not get bad results. Okay. But, bad results can be expected if such a conjunction is happening in the 6th, 8th, and the 12th houses. Okay. However, Mars and Moon combination is also a combination for money. Okay, that means the person will have a decent income throughout his or her life with this conjunction. Okay, next, Mars with Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of intellect. It's a young planet, and as a result, it is very flexible. So Mars represents the mechanic. Mars represents the engineer. So, whenever these two planets combine, the native uses his intelligence and flexibility for his work. Okay, so therefore, if this conjunction is happening in a good house and a good sign, the person can use the mind, physical strength, and flexibility for his or her work. Okay, these people have a great ability to quickly perceive, analyze, react, and argue. Okay. And however, if it is happening in a difficult house, then such a person can think that he or she is smarter than others. Okay, this is a combination that produces good engineers, designers, or architects. Okay, but then if Mars and Mercury are both afflicted, or if any one of them is afflicted, a person can become a very cunning deceiver. Okay, it also makes one have a very sharp tongue. So, if you have a Mars Mercury combination in the horoscope, please be very, very careful with the words that you speak, because that can really hurt others. Okay. Mars does best with Jupiter because Jupiter is the counselor. Okay. And, for example, say a person who is in Cancer Lagna, Mars always gives him good results because Mars is the Yoga Karaka. That means it rules the 5th house and the 10th house. So if such people have this Mars and Jupiter in the 10th house, it is an excellent Raja Yoga, because Jupiter in the 10th house will also be the lord of the 9th house, right? So these lords of the 9th and the 10th house are in the 10th house, and this is a Dharma Karma Adhipati Yoga. Okay, this is the Raja Yoga that brings that lands a person with great success and fame during the period of Mars or Jupiter Mahadasha or Antardasha. Okay. Similarly, Mars is also good for those who have Leo ascendant, because Mars then also becomes a Yoga Karaka, for it rules the 4th house and the 9th house. Okay. So such people having Mars and Jupiter in a good house without malefic aspects, such conjunctions can also bring them great success in their Dasha period. Okay. In a general sense, the conjunction of Mars and Jupiter is known as Guru Mangal Yoga. And this is a yoga that makes a person very practical, balanced, and pragmatic. Okay. Why? Because Mars gives physical strength and cheerfulness, while Jupiter gives pragmatism and foresight. Similarly, Mars gives material development, while Jupiter represents the spiritual development. Okay. Mars takes care of success in this world, and Jupiter is busy with the work that is needed for the next incarnations. So as a result, this combination makes a person very successful at home as well as at work, in business, and everywhere. Okay. So it's a condition where a strong, domineering prince is learning from a wise guru, right? So as I said, Jupiter is very spiritual, while Mars takes care of the success in this world, and Jupiter is busy with the work that is needed for your next evolution. Okay. And what happens is, it gives you a lot of landed property as well, because Mars represents landed property and Jupiter represents expansion. So a person, after having one landed property that he has inherited from his or her parents, can expand into having more landed ability, more landed properties as such. Okay. Then Mars with Venus. So this makes one an aggressive, aggressive in bed. Okay. Because Mars is an aggressive bully, while Venus represents all the things that are beautiful, soft, and soft. Okay. And when these two planets unite in one sign, either the bully becomes very kind or gentle, or the girl becomes aggressive and vulgar. Okay. So in which direction the native will go depends on the sign, the house, the aspects, and the nakshatra where they are connected. Okay. And if they are connected favorably, then the person becomes very kind and will not harm anyone. Okay. Such a person can easily control aggressive behavior and, becomes a protector for all the women. Okay. And he does that by respecting women and by taking care of them. And these people, they also develop good relationships with their spouses, and until old age, they retain their ability to love women and be the center of attention in the books of every woman. Okay. And these people will not even notice that they are old. Okay. And most of the friends and acquaintances that they will have will be from the opposite gender. Okay. However, if such a conjunction is happening in the, in the difficult houses like the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house, then, the results can be reversed. That means the person can become a very cruel and vulgar womanizer. Okay. And if such a conjunction is aspected by Jupiter or is joined by Jupiter, it becomes very favorable, because then it also gives the person a lot of material wealth. Okay. So Mars and Venus being together makes a person lover of luxury, who loves to be in the spotlight. Okay. However, if they are aspected by a malefic or joined by a malefic or is in a nakshatra of a malefic planet, then it will be difficult for a person to create normal relationships, and conflicts will arise in marriage. Okay. Now, if Venus is more powerful than Mars, then, Venus can control this Mars, and, the person can become very benign, very spiritual, very gentle. Okay. But then if Rahu is joining together, or if Rahu is looking at this conjunction, then the person can become a potential rapist or a sodomist. Okay. So as I said, the influence of Rahu on the conjunction of this Mars and Venus can make a person very vulgar, as well as a very depraved womanizer. Okay. And if a weak Venus is joining Mars in a male chart, then the person will have a dissolute lifestyle. That means the person will be prone to bad habits and will have relationships with immoral women. Okay. Similarly, if Mars and Venus are conjunct in the 9th house, in a nakshatra of, say, Rahu, or in a nakshatra of Saturn, then a person can have 2 marriages. Okay. So it's a very, it's a very volatile conjunction to have. Then Mars with Saturn. So Saturn, any planet joining Saturn will be starved by Saturn. And Mars is the Deha Karaka. That means it is the Karaka for your body. So Mars joining Saturn will naturally mean a weak bodily constitution. Okay, the person will have a compromised immune system. All right. Apart from that, Saturn is a calm, down-to-earth, lazy, and depressed planet. And Saturn has no passion or desire to show himself. Okay. So Saturn knows how to put Mars in place, because Mars will not be able to run everywhere and misbehave, because, as I said, Saturn will be starving Mars. So Mars has to be disciplined. So as a result, the person will be forced to become down to earth. Okay. So for example, say Mars in the 5th house alone can make someone drop out of school or college. Okay. But when this Mars is in with Saturn in the 5th house, then Saturn will not allow him to misbehave and drop out. Okay. So it's always better to have such a conjunction in the 3rd, 10th, and 11th houses. However, as I said, the immunity system of a person having such a conjunction is compromised, and this conjunction can give diseases to the cardiovascular system. Okay. And such people, they cannot remain focused to do only one single thing all their lives. There will be several turning points in their careers, because Mars will prevent Saturn from working at a normal pace. Okay. So this is a good position to have for engineers and surgeons. But as I said, it depends on where it is happening. Okay. The remedy is to carry a lodestone in your pocket. If you're having this conjunction, the remedy is to carry a small lodestone in your upper pocket wherever you go for work. It is going to do you a lot of good. Okay. Then Mars with Rahu. So this is known as Kuja Stambhana. Okay. Mars is known as Kuja, and Rahu blocks the way of Mars. So it becomes a combination for Kuja Stambhana. Okay. Now Mars, as I said, is an aggressive bully, and Rahu is a reckless, libertine, and together they will misbehave in full if they are in a malefic sign without any favorable aspects. Okay. And as always, the nature of their behavior will depend on the location. Okay. For example, they will activate their destructive energy when their dasha periods begin, right? For example, say if they're in the 1st house, a person can become very aggressive, or he or she can get a head injury, or even disturbed mental health. Okay. Such a person can become an aggressive bandit or a criminal. Okay. In the 2nd house, such a person will receive injuries on the face, maybe get broken teeth, have a harsh speech, and also suffer from family disharmony. Okay. In the 3rd house, such a person will have a great passion to gain power, but can have injuries in the hands, right? In the 4th house, a Mars Rahu conjunction produces a restless, a restless individual who has a showdown with relatives, and also conflicts related to real estate. In the 5th house, if there are children, they can get very sick, and if scandals can break out, romantic scandals can break out, and people can also lose money from speculative games and exchange. In the 6th house, these people can have stomach diseases and can fall into a debt trap and enter into conflict with the employees. Okay. In the 7th house, it can lead to problems or illnesses of the spouse and more than one marriage due to death of the partner, or due to the partner running away with someone else. Okay. In the 8th house, it can make you have a tendency to crime and put you in very difficult situations, including in prison. Okay. In the ninth house, it can bring conflicts with the father. It can bring injuries during long distance travels. Okay. In the 10th house, it can make you come into conflict with your bosses and superiors. It can also give you knee injuries. Okay. In the 11th house, relationships deteriorate. Friends can become enemies. Income can be fluctuating, and elder brothers will have problems. And in the 12th house, there could be problems with the law. There could be imprisonment coming upon a person. The person could incur a lot of expenses and shame. Okay. However, if this if this conjunction is happening in the 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 11th houses with aspects from Jupiter, then the person will get very good results. Okay. So the remedy, if you have this Mars and Ketu, is to give up on milk and dairy products completely, because if you have this Mars and Rahu conjunction, the remedy is to give up on dairy products completely. Okay. Because Rahu afflicts the Mars, and when Mars is afflicted, you cannot digest the milk, which is, you cannot digest the moon, which is milk products primarily. Okay. Then Mars with Ketu. So this produces an aggressive fighter. Okay. Mars and Ketu is called Pisasha Yoga. That means it can make you interact with the supernatural. Okay. What does Ketu represent? Ketu represents breaks, blockages, stagnation, and as a result, it does not allow Mars to exhibit much of its energy. Okay. Ketu makes Mars put the sword back on its sheath, and it is very necessary to take into account the sign in which they are connected. Okay. So if Mars is exalted and then Ketu is joining that Mars, then it might not be affected much. But as I said, Mars and Ketu, it gives a lot of, pitta problems because both of them are fiery planets. Okay. So wherever Mars and Ketu conjunctions happen, the significations of that house will suffer a lot. Okay. As a result, the person can become emotionally weak, can become emotionally vulnerable, and can also go into social isolation. Okay. Isolation from the society. And Mars is blood and Ketu is blockages. Okay. So as a result, Mars Ketu combination can cause blockages in blood circulation, and as a result, the person may end up having cardiovascular diseases and blood diseases, or suffer from varicose veins if they are in bad houses, if they are in negative houses as such. Okay, so this was my analysis of conjunctions with Mars. Do let me know if it fits with you, and if you want a consultation regarding your chart, please reach out at the number given in the description box. Okay, so that's it from me in this video. Kindly leave behind your valuable comments in the feedback section, share it with your friends if you find it useful, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon in my next video. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.